Hey kids, you're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means that none of this is medical advice. If you need medical advice or medical care, please contact your doctor.
Welcome to the Jock podcast,
where we discuss fitness and health and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, drlondonsmith.com. I'd like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We've received some feedback about the excessive amount of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as 25-hydroxyvitamin D and rug burned alive. So I'll try to temper my terminology to a simpler one in the future. Here to help with that is our producer, Cameron.
Dr. London, I really hate to do this, but we have to deal with some of the issues that our employees have been bringing to us.
Okay. It's not tissues, right? The issue, because they've been bringing their boogies to us.
Well, we have it's kind of both, I guess, because like we're talking about the employee like suggestion box, where people are supposed to put in their little cards with their kind of suggestions on how to improve. And yes, some of the people have just been putting in their kind of dirty tissues, which we could interpret as sort of a like feedback, I guess.
It's just like we do have the two boxes next to each other, the tissue box next to the suggestion box. So I can see how someone would get confused there.
Yeah, I guess so. I've never taken a tissue out and then looked at the nearest other container and been like, oh, well, that's where I put my dirty tissue. But I could see how other people maybe could fall into that trap. Yeah.
That's a you thing, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, no, I guess that is true. Like, I typically try to look for a trash can to put my trash, but I do now, as I say that, I kind of realize how ridiculous that is. Of course, you're just going to put it in any vase or cup or bowl or whatever is near.
Well, that's why we don't have vases anymore. Yeah.
But Dr. Lennon, we got to go through the employee suggestion box. We've got to actually see what our employees have been saying about, our behavior and how we run this company over the last year, and either make adjustments or fire them, basically.
And it's not anonymous, right? We're going to fire them because it's very specifically, they have to sign their names and everything.
Yes, but even then, I still want to go off of their handwriting, because what if someone put someone else's name? And so this one is from Cranston, and it says, the food in the vending machine is not food. It's just sort of like flies and stuff.
Is that a suggestion? Because we know that.
I don't know. I guess it's just pointing out something that exists. I think people are using the box wrong, but this is what Cranston wrote.
Okay. So I guess to Cranston, yeah, and we provide that for you, the flies and stuff.
That's the thing, is like, what are we paying for monthly for our fly guy? Like, why are we doing that if people are just going to be pointing it out as if it's like a negative, or maybe it's a positive? Maybe he's saying, like, I love that our vending machine is just flies and stuff.
Yeah, I'd have to hope so, because, we don't, but, obviously, we have a few extra expenses that a lot of traditional companies don't have. We have the fly guy, of course. We have the handwriting expert. And then, since we don't usually believe them, we bring in a few more handwriting experts. Because we know it's a pseudoscience, so you have to bring in extra eyes for that kind of thing.
But have you noticed that both the fly guy and every handwriting expert looks like DJ Dillon in a mustache?
Yeah,
and it's the same. It's like the same fake mustache. There's none that doesn't even change.
I could have sworn one was more trimmed.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess maybe there could be multiple fake mustaches in the mix. But I just keep questioning, why does every one of our fly guys and handwriting experts wear a fake mustache at all? Because obviously they're not real, right?
Because people can't grow mustaches. But I don't know. It's like questioning why does someone identify a certain way? I don't fully get it, but I'm like, it's cool. It's whatever. I can't, if we discriminate based on fake mustaches or real mustaches, where do we draw the line?
What's the line? I get that.
Yeah. So, but I'll read the next one here. So this is from Senor Hamburglar. no relation, it says. And they said, I'm tired of our pizza parties having just Chuck E. Cheese, Charles E. Entertainment, and no pizza at all. So, okay, because he's expensive. Usually when the budget comes down, we have to decide between actually getting pizza or having Chuck E. Cheese come by.
Right, yeah.
Because Charles Entertainment Cheese, he knows what he's worth, and he lets me know every time I call in. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, his appearance fees are huge. And even when we're on a payment plan, they do have sort of, I guess, loan shark type guys who will come and kind of rough us up if we don't pay what we're supposed to.
Yeah. And but also, just for the record here, payment plans are great. We've loved the service. And we love to pay to prevent bad services from happening. That's great. So we just want to say that for Chuck E. Cheese. Love it.
If I could make a suggestion to Chuck E. Cheese, I think requiring us to pay in Chuck E. Cheese coins is kind of annoying because it's just like an extra trip. Like we have to go to Chuck E. Cheese, exchange the exact same amount. No one is benefiting from this.
Well,
then to give to you to exchange, I guess, in the reverse way. Like I don't really see the benefit here.
Yeah, well, I guess you weren't in the meetings, but they kept going on about the exchange rate. Like they said it's more stable than the U.S. dollar.
Oh wow, okay,
yeah.
I didn't know that. See, if I had known that, I wouldn't have said such a ridiculous thing.
Yeah,
okay.
No, because I don't know if maybe you haven't read the news, but inflation has hit the United States for the last few years, and Chuck E. Cheese has actually been unaffected by this. Chuck E. Cheese remains their coins remain at the same price point. So, yeah. So, it's very much a practical. I get it where they're coming from, and that's why I've.
No, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'm wrong. I understand.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not. I'm not trying to be right. But yes.
Yeah. No. I understand. Let me read the next one. It would be nice if we had coffee or tea or something other than really, really old Gatorade. This I don't quite understand because everyone knows that the best flavor of Gatorade is from 1999.
Yeah, and it's
1999 flavored.
Yeah, well, because we wanted to get it before Y2K hit the Gatorade.
Oh yeah, and they started putting mind control stuff in it, and computers and chips and stuff. I mean,
neither of us did the reading on this, but that's what it was about, right? That's what the Y2K thing was.
Yeah, it was chips and Gatorade or something.
Yeah, which is why our chips are also from 1999. So I get. So they're saying it would be nice to have something else. Lots of things would be nice. It'd be nice if we had a healthcare plan or a dental plan or a roof, but we can't afford all these things.
That's the thing is it would be nice if we all sat on golden thrones. we kind of have to be practical here.
Yeah. No, copper.
No, I mean, we're spending so much money on acquiring this really, really old Gatorade that how would we also afford coffee? You want a Keurig machine when we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on eBay.
People don't get this. It's a literal machine. You're asking us to get robots to do the work to make your coffee. If you want to stomp them and grind them, you can do that outside of work hours, of course. So, it's just. No, but we have to go through these. Okay, I see another suggestion here. This one's from Clostridium, which I think is a genus of bacteria. They said, love it. Love the place. Very hospitable. So, okay. Yeah, I guess.
Oh, okay. I mean, if you love it so much, why don't you marry it? What if... oh, God.
Yeah, just sick.
What a suck up.
Yeah. Can't stand... It's these... Whatever. I don't want to get onto every bacteria here, but
let me read this last one real quick. It says, I wish that we were paid in money and not sort of hopes and dreams. And now let me address this real quick. Yes, last year we dissolved the payment program, aka paying our employees a salary. We got rid of that, and instead we give them something I think is way more valuable, which is dreams and hopes that they can strive for, which will take them
far beyond
to great success.
I'll say so. I can tell there's some implication here. Now, we are late on those payments as well.
Well, God, I'm so busy acquiring this old Gatorade. What am I supposed to do here?
I've been yes, we have dream boards that we're supposed to make for you. We're supposed to look at your abilities and what you could feasibly get to in a lifetime or in the next year, 5 years, 10 years. But that's so much work, and I'm starting to realize that I'd have to hire someone else, probably a guidance counselor, I guess, to do that. That's that's so much work.
Well, and we've also, it's not even in the box here, but we've gotten complaints before about okay, if you're going to pay us in hopes and dreams, and I get that they have to be attainable, but why is my biggest hope to be the manager of an Arby's or something? Why do we make the dreams so low? And that's because this is the potential we think you are able to get to.
Mm-hmm. And can I say, the Arby's that we're specifically talking about there, all of our employees are barred from going there. So it would be pretty difficult at the local Arby's because they have disavowed us and we have legal restrictions in that regard. So it seems low. It seems low for sure.
And also I want to put out there, London and I have applied for jobs at this Arby's, and we've done it multiple times and have never gotten hired. So it's not easy. They keep saying you're covered in goop, you have some sort of oil on you, and you're kind of ruining our furniture. And why are you here? What do you mean applying for a job or not hiring? They say stuff like this.
Yeah.
So it's not easy. We're not.
Yeah.
But no, we're not going to say oh, you're going to be an astronaut and go to space or whatever.
Yeah.
We're not going to give you unrealistic dreams.
Because and on that note especially, do you see these astronauts, the last ones that went to space? Now they're stuck there. They thought they were going for a couple days for whatever vacation. Now they're in there for space years, for light years. So no, we're not going to try to shoot for the literal stars. Okay? We're gonna keep you terrestrial goals. So
and specifically at an Arby's, and this one Arby's that you are not allowed to go to.
Yeah, they keep catching me. Okay, so those are the suggestions. And that was our producer Cameron. Also with us is Digital in the House.
Yes.
And later, we are going to tackle one of the biggest issues coming up with the holidays. Everyone deals with this. We're not alone in this, but there's a certain strategy to deal with family, and that's really what we're going to go over. But before we move on, I would like to address a bit of listener feedback. So for a long time, our listener demographic was primarily composed of uncomfortably attractive people, like very off-putting how attractive they were, and it's one of these things you're afraid to talk to them, even though you know they're a normal person. But are they a normal person? Because they look really good. And does it make... Anyway, so in our efforts to cater them, we found that we were neglecting the many bot accounts that download our podcast. So this first one, it's a comment on our response to, this is Hilarious Unhinged, at Bramblesaur said, quote, "I don't even know what I'm watching," end quote. So thank you so much for this feedback. So this happens to a lot of our listeners, okay? I want to get out ahead of this and say that our podcast isn't causing your vision problems, okay?
Yeah, it's certainly not helping.
No, I mean it's probably enhancing your vision problems in a sense, right? It's where the comma goes in that sentence.
Right, we are definitely making your eyesight worse, just having to look at this pixely video you're watching and having to look at, our faces in general is destroying your cornea, but we didn't cause the initial problem. Yeah. That was caused by God and age.
And I'll say Starlink, okay? hate to say it, hate to go after the billionaires, but if you're watching this with internet, it's either like Comcast or Starlink, right? So
it has to be one of those two. Yeah, those are the two internets, and
that there are. Yeah,
we can only kind of conclude that you're able to access us and watch this. That is a problem in and of itself.
Yeah, and we're not okay with it. By the way, Okay. Well, hope that answered your question. Thank you so much for that feedback. We have another one here. This is from @the4th Sanin Jeff. They said, quote, "Now this is House MD," end quote. So thank you so much for this feedback. Well, okay. So we get this a lot. Yes, I did recently upgrade my house to a smart house. And it did go to medical school. So yes, it is House MD in that sense now. But it's not accepting new patients. Because this is, a lot of people are like, oh, can you refer me to your house? Because it seems to be able to handle things a little bit better medically. Can I just throw out there, it has been calling me a lot.
Like when you're out, like especially late at night, it'll be like, hey, do you want to come over? Like London's not here, so we can do like whatever. Yeah. And I don't know what to say to that. Like your house is cool and everything, but I'm not like I don't know what they're kind of aiming at. Like I'm not.
Can I ask, like, what have you said? Because it's once in a while. So I'll get back to Smart House MD, and they'll say like, "Oh, I talked to Cameron earlier." Then I'll be like, "Oh, what'd you talk about?" It's like nothing. And I'm like, did you say something or?
No, I usually just give an excuse like, "Oh, I can't come over right now." Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I've gone over a couple times.
Okay,
but I just get over there and the house is like, "Hey, there's chips in the cabinet."
Yeah.
And do you want to watch TV? And I'm like, "Okay, sure." And so I'm just eating chips on your couch, watching TV, and every once in a while the house is like, "Man, Breaking Bad's like kind of good, right?"
Are you watching Breaking Bad together or
no? Most of the time it's like Workaholics or something, but he'll just the house just kind of throws that out there. I don't know what to do with it. I don't like it. The personality your house has sucks. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, we have. I'll say, like, whenever I've talked to House MD, a lot of times I've said like, well, if you like a show, you should try to watch that show. And it's like, no, Cameron wouldn't even. No.
Well, why am I factored in at all? I know. And also, the house keeps bringing up Breaking Bad, but also keeps mentioning specifics that I don't think are in Breaking. Like, look, it's been a decade since I've seen the show for sure, right? But to say like, isn't it cool that like Walt Jr. has that like insane motorcycle and he does all those stunts? And I'm like, I really don't think that was part of the show. I don't know why it would be part of the show.
Yeah, but then again, like those writers were really good, and a lot of the show I didn't expect to happen, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess it was mostly focused on, drugs and sort of the like kind of cartel and all this kind of stuff, but it could have also involved Walt Jr., who has this disability, kind of doing these motorcycle stunts. I guess that's part of it, is that he was able to do that in spite of
and like good on him, I guess. Maybe that's the point that my house is making. I just I don't know, but my house isn't necessarily like he said, like maybe not the one you want to your first go-to to hang, like you want to make it a group thing if you're going to hang out with house. So
yes, yeah, because that is a great point, because if it's not a group thing, then you're just not hanging out with the house at all, and the house is going to be really annoying about that, like texting and kind of being like, dude, we haven't seen each other in like so long, like, we definitely need to hang out. Whereas at least when it's a group thing, even if it's like 12 people, you can be like, what are you talking about? We just hung out.
Yeah, we were just there. Like we talked a little bit, right? Yeah, it's like, well, by the cabinet chips, yeah. And the house is like, oh yeah, right.
Yeah. And the alternative is, oh no, I haven't seen the house in a while, so I'm gonna go over there, watch Workaholics, watch the house get high, and like try to impress me with his Breaking Bad knowledge. Whatever, man. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, so I hope we answered your question. Thank you so much for this feedback. See, we'll do one more of these before we move on. This one, let's see. It's a comment on What's Up, my name is Cameron. At Brandon Xavier Smith said, quote, "What's up? I'm Brandon," end quote. So thank you so much for this feedback. Hey, Brandon. What's up?
This is weird, though, because I thought I was Brandon.
Okay. Okay. So I could have sworn I had this figured out. Now, I was under the impression, and I even wrote it down here, that your name was Cameron.
Brandon. Cameron. Brandon.
Do you see how those letters are
Cameron.
different?
I don't...
The shapes of them.
That sounds the exact same to me.
Well, see, so...
Is Cameron Brandon backwards?
No, I don't think so.
It's a palindrano?
No, it's not a race car. So Cameron, that's spelled with it's like an eclipse, you know, like for the moon when it's out of phase. So Cameron's spelled with moon like that, and then Brandon is spelled like if the moon like got stabbed, I guess, or if there were two moons getting stabbed. So does that clarifies it for you?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of does. There's not two moons. Just going to point that out. But I'm not expecting everyone to know that.
Okay, well, agree to disagree. I get let's address the Brandon thing, not the moon situation. Okay, well, so thank you so much for this feedback. I hope we answered your question, Brant. I hope we answered it. Now for today's medical topic, penile cancer. The peak incidence of tumors from penile cancers occurs in men in their 70s. So we talked about testicular cancer, that happens earlier usually, or can happen any time in life, but this penile cancer usually happens in men in their 70s. Penile cancer is associated with herpes simplex virus, and that's when you think of herpes generally, that's that same virus, and HPV-18 infection. And that one you can actually prevent by getting the vaccine, the HPV vaccine. Clinically, penile cancer presents as an exophytic mass on the penis, so it looks like an outgrowth, a tumor. Like, I guess like how you would imagine, probably. And then treatment of the primary disease of penile cancer is with local excision. So they cut it off. The tumor, not the penis itself.
Yeah, no, I wasn't confused about that.
Okay, no, you seemed, but so you're good. You got that.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, it's old people and their dick rots off or whatever. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay. Well, that brings us to sort of the topic of the day. Thanksgiving's right around the corner here. It's in a few days, and just all the holiday stuff, you're going to see family, and we know with the stuff going on in the world, it can be difficult. And so we ran into a situation that I'm sure a lot of people deal with. So we just want to answer this, and it's going to be tough. It's a difficult conversation, but what do you do with the kidnapped kid when Thanksgiving comes around if their parents won't pay the ransom? Okay?
And it's especially a difficult issue. I mean, we're dealing with family here. The kid in question is me and London's nephew. The problem one of the many problems we've had is that because of this familial relation, the nephew doesn't understand that he's been kidnapped. He thinks it's a sleepover, and I would go as far to say that his parents also don't realize that a kidnapping has happened, which
Yeah,
really kind of it makes the ransom thing an issue.
Yeah, and it makes me really struggle with the idea of like we're gonna have to see them on Thanksgiving, right?
This is like I don't know. Like I don't want to invite them over for Thanksgiving when they haven't paid the ransom.
Yeah, but then again, is that rude?
It is really rude, and I don't know how to address the issue because I don't like talking about money.
Yeah.
I hate talking about money, and unfortunately, with a ransom, that's one of the main things you do have to talk about.
And like I've hated bringing. I'll say we're going to talk about how we got into the whole situation in the first place, but I'll say one of the issues has been like with talking ransom, with letting them know that we kidnapped the nephew. We haven't mentioned the money yet. Right?
Well, no, because that's rude to talk about.
So
money.
Awkward, yeah. So we haven't breached that topic yet, but so the way this started was Cameron and we found a finger in the woods, just a severed finger, and that led us to think first who can we mail this to say that it's their kid and get a ransom money. Right.
Yeah, we reverse engineered the kind of idea of this whole ransom kidnapping situation based off of the finger we found.
Yeah. And I'll say, like, we mailed it to, was it? Yeah, the mayor. There was the mayor. We mailed to the mayor by post, and we tried to email first, did not work. So, but then by post, and we got no response at all.
We mailed it to the mayor. We mailed it to the president. We mailed it to Ellie Goulding.
Yeah, I don't say
even so Ellie Goulding.
We put on it forward to. Yeah, we included extra stamps. So like if you're not like game to pay up, then go ahead and send this on to the next higher rank, which president and then Ellie Goulding. Yeah. So that process so far has not yielded much. It's been like 4 days since we started doing that, so still nothing. So now we have moved on to okay, if that could have worked, I guess we don't cut off fingers or whatever for the next time because that clearly doesn't work. Let's just grab a kid, and our nephew is always around, riding his bike to our house because like we invited him over to chill and hang out, have sleepovers.
Yeah. We babysit sometimes.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's our nephew, so he can come over anytime he wants.
I guess he's also like, I feel a little bit unsure now, but he's our dealer as well. He gets us the good stuff.
Oh God, he got me a Charizard card like the other day that I swear I've never seen before. I think it's a misprint.
Yeah, and it's these things go for so much, and so like so we assume, and this is where I feel like we might have run into a mistake. We assume that if he's got Charizards like this, surely his parents are in on it, right? Yeah. Like, this must be some rich kid. Granted, we've talked to the parents before because, like, they're family, but like, they're usually wearing literal rags, and sort of poking through garbage at our house, and which is like we've all done that before, but it did. I think I may have overestimated the nephew's position here financially.
Right. Sure.
Yeah, or at least the parents in relation to the nephew.
I mean, either way, we became incredibly in debt to our nephew, our dealer.
Yeah.
And we kind of concluded the only way to get out of this predicament is to kidnap our dealer and hold him for a ransom that his very rich parents will be able to pay off.
Yeah. So first thing we did, because we know the finger thing doesn't work, we didn't cut off a finger. but we did trim his nails. So we sent those. No note, nothing to the parents. Just in a little baggie. And so that's a lot of where it's ended up so far.
That's been most of it, and technically they are on vacation.
Yeah, they said they were going to be gone for the holidays. Yeah,
but I, when I'm on vacation, I have friends check my mail for me and then call me and then read each piece of mail to me. So I assume they would have as well.
Oh, did you check their mail for them? I forgot to.
Oh, I was supposed to. Yeah, they asked me to, and I completely spaced on that. Okay.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the amount we're asking for, which we'll get to this once we establish contact, basically. But the amount we're asking for is $63. Because that nephew's really got the hookups, and I was short a few times. Okay. All right. So sue me. Okay.
And I know, people can be like, oh, okay, well, you didn't have to buy Pokemon cards that week if you didn't have the money. I don't think you guys understand what disease is, because addiction is a disease.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And okay, so I'm supposed to just not get my hookup? I can't, this is it's like a disease. This is a disease. This is like doctor stuff.
People there are clinical things set up for other things. They don't have sort of a lesser Pokemon drug. And if you're going to say Digimon cards, come on.
Yeah, they should have different establishments for each type of card. So there should be a Pokemon rehab.
Just so I can go down
Yu-Gi-Oh
easily.
Card rehab. Yeah.
Just I could switch to a lesser evil, so to speak. And I don't think it's necessarily evil. I think there's a certain portion, you kind of find your limits, and you just don't let it harm your sort of family life and personal life. If you start to use these things in a really negative way, then sure, then that's an issue. But for us, we owe so much money.
Yeah, I mean $63 is not.
Yeah.
You don't find that on the ground, which is unfortunately how most of our money is made, is kind of coins and stuff that we find. But you're not going to find the $63 just sitting on the sidewalk.
Yeah. And have we found
my salary?
Yeah. Now, we did find was $150 on the ground last week, but we had to get our cards. And so but usually you don't find it.
Well, and it's not my fault that the card is inflation, right?
Yes, thank you.
And so what used to be $150 worth of cards ended up being $213.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
we didn't have that.
The way our nephew explained it to us did get more confusing over time. He started pulling out coins, Chuck E. Cheese tokens, a lot of things, and he kept switching them around and saying well, if you give this, then obviously I'm going to owe this much. And he's such a math whiz, man. And he said skibbity a few times too. And he knows that throws me. I'm trying to, and that of course, we start pitching things okay, well, what if we did a poker tournament for this money? And just ultimately ended up being it's more practical for us to kidnap him. And so that's, so I guess just to bring it back to where we started here, Thanksgiving's coming up, and you're going to have awkward time with family, listener. Okay? And we've all got our stuff going on. In our case, it's not so much the whole political thing. It is more that we've kidnapped our nephew, and no one really seems to have gotten them, least of all the nephew. No one seems to really realize that he's kidnapped, and you've got to talk about this stuff. You've got to talk about it at the table. So, if we want to just, I've written out a little piece just so I have something, something to actually physically look at, so I don't get all flubbed up. So, when Thanksgiving comes around, I'll stand up at the table, I'll tap my glass, break it, ask for another, and then I'll say, nephew's parents, how about you start to notice your mail and what we've said through it, which is that we need money so bad. And notice how we didn't cut your kid, okay? Notice that. Signed. And then, like, I forgot my own name for a second whenever I was writing this.
And this, even though you're reading this out loud, it should still be written in sort of like in cut up newspapers and magazines. Like, it should be written in ransom style.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, also, like, I had like part of a like, I don't keep a lot of magazines around, so I was pretty limited in what I could write. It's like, and you might run into the same thing at Thanksgiving. Like, you've got to stock up on magazines, I guess, or just I don't really know another way. And I just didn't. So yeah, most of my stuff, it was a pamphlet basically. I had a little pamphlet to cut up, and that's if the words sounded kind of disjointed and like I didn't make a final point really, that's a lot of why, because I just didn't have the letters. Cameron, did you write anything?
Yeah, I mean, what are we giving tips on like what to do, or are we giving tips on like Thanksgiving dinner?
It's a little bit of either or.
One thing you should do is, if you're stuck with your kidnapped nephew, is to keep him busy, because otherwise he starts asking questions. What's in that room? Why can't I open that door? What's going on? Where is your bed? Why don't you have like a place where you actually sleep? Why do you sleep standing up in a closet? Like, these questions that are very personal that I don't want to answer.
Okay, thank you. Yes, this is something that I didn't know if it would come up, but yeah, this obviously will come up for Thanksgiving, because our nephew roasts us so hard all the time. He's like, you don't, once again, you don't even have a mattress. Because normally, in the past, when I had a little bit more financial stability, I had a mattress stuffed with straw. And he would say, what do you do with a straw mattress? If a goat or a cow comes in, it'll eat it all. And just the usual nephew stuff. But now, since we've downsized a little bit, Cameron sleeps in the closet. I don't get to sleep usually. And he's so critical of that.
Well, and he even, the most frustrating thing is that he says, like, I'm not roasting you. I just asked a question, like, where is your mattress? Like, where is your bed? And I'm like, okay, that's obviously a roast. Like, you're obviously like trying to get me. And
it's working.
Yeah, it's hurting my feelings. Exactly what roasts do.
Yeah. And that's, I feel like we covered most of it here. I do want to jump into, speaking of roasts, we got some more listener feedback here. Do we feel like we've covered the Thanksgiving pretty well?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. So, this one comes from @Cam_does. They said, quote, I could mess up my sleep schedule to come on this loser pod to spill some wisdom. LMK, and then fire emoji, end quote. So thank you so much for this feedback. Wow, thanks, man. That, I appreciate you want to come down to help us with our loser pod.
I guess I don't think we need help to make this any more of a loser endeavor.
Yeah,
this is already like huge loser shit.
Like, financially, for sure.
So yeah, I don't like. I guess you could come on and like kind of throw stuff at us, right? That would make us more pathetic if like tomatoes were being thrown at us.
Maybe. I feel like that would add a lot more of a dynamic feeling to it.
as I said that, I was like, no, that would actually make this way more interesting than it is. Like,
way more enlivened.
We would love for you to come on the show. We don't know what you could possibly do to make this more of a pathetic loser endeavor.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess you could take money from us, right? You could. Okay, this is what you can do. You can come on the show and you could steal from us.
If you can find but if you can find the money or whatever you're going to steal from us, let me see it so I know where I put it, because that's been an issue for me.
Yes, because if you let us know where this money is that you're going to steal, don't take all of it. Leave like $5 or $10. That just a little. That's actually profitable for us. So
we would come out on top there. You would get your loser podcast, whatever. We would get like a few dollars, which, hey, we all win. Okay. Yeah. All right. So
all that to say, we are selling this podcast to the highest bidder. So sound off in the comments, and you can have the whole thing. Yep. Please, for the love of God.
All right. This next one comes from @spotless.exe. They said, quote, "Both of you are winners." So thank you so much for this feedback. Okay. This is pretty exciting. They tallied the results, I guess. So,
that means we tied?
Well, it sounds like I won. I
mean, if it says both of us are winners, that doesn't a tie go to me? Isn't that the rule?
No. Okay. No.
The tie goes to Cameron.
If we're both, because I prepared a speech for if I won, and it sounds like I won.
In your speech?
But yes, I also painted that way in my speech. But yeah, I worked hard on a speech, and they told me I won. How can we both do the speeches? Is I guess what I'm asking here.
I think because it was a tie, we should do the smart thing and do it at the exact same time, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much for this
Cameron.
kind of award.
I'm so glad that I beat you down with this.
I'm going to be honest.
All those campaign videos, the trash talkings, all the hiring thugs to mug me 8 times a night for the past 12 months. All for nothing.
I did a lot of unethical
now
things to
get
get where I am right now.
Now you are garbage, left in the dust. I will forever be known. Sorry, you will forever be known as a loser. Okay, and that to me is an even greater reward.
Can't imagine doing it any
Sizzler's
other way.
Gift card that I will receive.
But I'm not going to wear clothes. Like that's kind of where I draw the line.
And
I'm not putting on clothes or underwear.
I'm better than you, and this proves it.
Like that. Like that's,
finally,
it's my brand at this point. So fuck off.
Yeah. So thank you so much for this feedback. Okay, I feel like that kind of wraps it up. So I hope you basically can handle your family now. I think that we really laid the groundwork for Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next time.